What if the reason your life is not changing is not that you are doing too little, but that you are moving too much to notice where the real change is trying to begin? When life feels stuck, our first instinct is usually to accelerate. We make another plan. We download another productivity app. We watch another motivational video. We start 5 new habits on Monday and abandon 4 of them by Thursday. We send more messages, chase more opportunities, analyze every possible outcome, and keep asking ourselves the same anxious question: what else should I be doing? Constant movement gives us a temporary sense of control. Even when nothing meaningful is happening, activity makes us feel as though we are moving forward. A full calendar looks like progress. Exhaustion looks like commitment. Anxiety can even disguise itself as ambition. But motion and transformation are not the same thing. Sometimes we are not moving toward a new life. We are running in circles inside the old one. People often describe a dramatic life change as a quantum leap. Not because human lives follow the rules of quantum physics, but because the transformation appears sudden from the outside. One day the person seems trapped in the same pattern. Then something shifts. They leave the wrong career, begin creating work that feels real, change the way they relate to others, or finally make a decision they postponed for years. What nobody sees is the quiet period before the leap, the period when the old identity is losing its grip, but the new one has not yet become visible. And that period rarely looks productive. It looks like silence. Silence sounds peaceful until we actually experience it. Remove the meetings, notifications, background noise, endless research, and constant problem solving, and something uncomfortable begins to happen. We start hearing the thoughts that activity was covering. We notice the decisions we had been avoiding. We feel the exhaustion that caffeine and urgency helped us ignore. We begin to recognize that some of our goals were never truly ours. That is why stillness can feel more threatening than failure. Failure allows us to keep moving. We can fix, improve, prove, try again, and tell ourselves that the answer is somewhere in the next strategy. Stillness removes that escape. It places us in the same room with questions that cannot be answered through speed. What do we actually want? What are we continuing only because we are afraid to disappoint someone? Which version of ourselves are we still performing because it once kept us safe? And what might have to end before something new can begin? The mind often interprets uncertainty as danger. It would rather choose a familiar problem than enter an unfamiliar possibility. So when a genuine transition begins, we may suddenly become unusually busy. We reorganize the house. We start unnecessary projects. We obsess over minor details. We create emergencies that pull us back toward the identity we already know. This does not mean we are lazy or incapable of change. It means the old self is trying to survive. Because silence does not simply remove noise. Silence removes the excuses that allowed us to remain the same. There is a stage in almost every meaningful transformation when nothing appears to be working. The old way no longer feels right, but the new direction is not yet clear. The habits that once created momentum begin to feel empty. The goals that used to excite us lose their emotional charge. We may feel detached, unmotivated, or strangely uncertain about everything. This stage is easy to misinterpret. We may assume that we are failing, becoming lazy, losing our ambition, or falling behind. So we panic and try to recreate the energy of the past. We force ourselves back into routines that no longer fit. We return to relationships we had already outgrown. We accept opportunities that look impressive but feel wrong. We produce more noise because the absence of visible progress feels unbearable. But not every pause is stagnation. Sometimes a pause is the moment when an old internal structure is dissolving. Imagine renovating a house. Before the new space becomes beautiful, there is a period when the walls are open, the furniture is gone, and everything looks worse than before. Anyone entering at that moment could believe the house had been ruined. But the disorder is not the final result. It is evidence that the former structure can no longer remain untouched. Human change often follows a similar pattern. Before a new life becomes visible, the old arrangement may need to become uncomfortable, unstable, or impossible to continue. The quiet middle is not glamorous. There may be no applause, certainty, or obvious evidence that we are moving forward. But the absence of visible movement does not always mean the absence of change.
Nature offers a different model of transformation. A seed does not break open because it is impatient. A tree does not pull on its own branches to make them grow faster. Winter does not apologize for looking empty. The tide does not panic when it moves away from the shore. In nature, periods of visible expansion are followed by periods of withdrawal, restoration, and preparation. Growth is not continuous performance. It has rhythm. Human beings often reject that rhythm. We expect ourselves to be productive in every season. We treat rest as a reward that must be earned. We become suspicious of any period that cannot be measured, monetized, or displayed. If we are not producing an obvious result, we assume time is being wasted. But some of the most important developments in life happen where nobody can see them. A boundary becomes stronger before we finally speak it aloud. A decision becomes clear before we announce it. Self-respect grows quietly before it changes the relationships we tolerate.
A new direction takes shape long before we know how to explain it. The surface may look calm, while the internal landscape is reorganizing. This does not mean sitting still and waiting for life to rescue us. Inner stillness is not passivity. It is the absence of frantic interference. It is the space in which we can distinguish genuine movement from fear-driven activity. Nature does not rush, but it is never inactive. The roots are working even when the branches appear unchanged.
Before our circumstances change, the way we relate to them often changes first. The job may be the same, but we stop believing we must tolerate everything to remain secure. The relationship may look unchanged, but we no longer abandon ourselves to preserve peace. The opportunity has not arrived yet, but we stop accepting offers that belong to the person we used to be. This is the invisible reorganization. It is not dramatic enough to post online. There may be no announcement, new title, sudden income, or impressive before and after photograph. The evidence appears in smaller moments. We pause before saying yes. We notice when urgency is being used to control us. We stop explaining ourselves to people committed to misunderstanding us. We feel less impressed by opportunities that require us to betray our values. We begin protecting the energy that was previously scattered across obligations, comparisons, and unnecessary battles. From the outside, this may look like less effort. Internally, however, an enormous amount of energy is being recovered, and recovered energy changes decisions. When the mind is constantly overstimulated, it tends to choose what is immediate, familiar, and emotionally loud. Stillness allows quieter information to become available. Intuition grounded in experience, patterns we previously ignored, and truths that could not compete with constant noise.
The breakthrough may begin long before the external result. It begins when the old choice is still available, but no longer feels like home. Then, one day, an external decision finally matches the internal change. The person resigns, launches the project, raises the price, ends the relationship, moves to another city, accepts the opportunity, says the sentence they were afraid to say. To everyone watching, it can look sudden. Where did that confidence come from? Why now? How did everything change so quickly? But the visible decision is only the final movement of a much longer process. A bridge may collapse in 1 second, but the pressure was building for years. Water may overflow in a single moment, but the level had been rising quietly. Dawn appears quickly, but the sky has been changing long before the sun crosses the horizon. This is why forcing a dramatic breakthrough rarely works. We may copy the external action of someone who has already changed internally. We quit impulsively, make an announcement, take a reckless risk, or try to behave like a person we have not yet become. But an action taken to escape discomfort is different from an action that emerges from clarity. The real leap does not come from emotional frenzy. It comes when the internal argument is over. Not when fear has completely disappeared, but when fear is no longer making the final decision. The moment itself may be fast. The readiness was not. Perhaps the next chapter of life does not need to be chased. Perhaps it needs enough silence to become recognizable. We are often so focused on creating a dramatic future that we fail to notice the smaller truth already asking for our attention. The conversation that leaves us depleted every time. The work that looks successful but feels empty. The desire we keep dismissing because it does not fit the plan. The decision we already understand but continue delaying because certainty has not arrived. Stillness does not hand us a perfect map. It does something more useful. It reveals which direction is no longer honest. And sometimes that is enough to begin. Real transformation may look quieter than we expected. It may begin with fewer commitments, fewer explanations, fewer attempts to prove that we are progressing. It may feel less like adding a new identity and more like releasing the performance that exhausted us. Then movement returns, but it has a different quality. It is cleaner, more deliberate, less desperate. We are no longer running to escape ourselves. We are moving because something inside us has become clear. People may call the visible result a quantum leap. They may believe everything changed overnight. But we will know the truth. Life often changes quietly before it changes visibly. The silence was not empty. It was where the next version of us was learning how to exist.